I love libraries. How about you? Do you love libraries? How many people go to the library? Great. Aren't we lucky? We have great libraries in this area. I remember the first time I ever went to the library. Think back, maybe you will too. I was in the 4th grade in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was going to O'Donoghue Parochial School, the Sisters of Mercy. Sister Mary Joan, the librarian, came down, and she took our whole class to the libraries at the beginning of school and sat us around a large wooden table. And standing there in all of her black goodness, with her veil and a white coif, surrounding her little face, she held up a book and said, "This is the book, boys and girls. You must cherish your books. Cherish your books. You must cherish your books." She opened up a book and she demonstrated turning down the corner. And she said, "That's dog-earing the book. You must never do that. It hurts it. It hurts it. Don't ever do that. But most of all," and she held the book back up, "cherish it and don't ever, ever, ever write in your book." And then, as though we were hearing a sin that absolutely had to be remembered, she repeated it all. Cherish your books. Don't write in them. Never, ever write in your book. Now, that's been obviously a long time ago. And I don't remember vividly Sister Mary Joan all the time anymore. And I still love books. I love the library, but I like to own books. I like to own books. And with the presence in our world of places to get cheap books, I have rooms of books at my house. 25 cents, 50 cents, it doesn't matter. But they're mine. And I like to have them wherever I go. So I usually have a tote bag and a book. And I've added one thing over time. I usually carry a Sharpie pen because I like to underline things so that I won't forget them. Well, recently, all of this came back to me one day in California. I was just out a few weeks ago visiting my grandchildren. They're grown boys now, you know how they turn into men. But I remember when they were little boys and they went to California haircuts to get their hair cut. I used to take them myself. And I got up one morning and I went into the bathroom and I turned and looked. Now my daughter has a bathroom that has a full wall-length mirror over the sink. Several sinks, I think. It's a big mirror. And I looked over there and I was so startled. I saw my mother looking back at me. And all of a sudden she called out, "Go get your hair cut." "Mother, go get your hair cut." Well, I've always been an obedient little girl, and so I decided that I would go immediately to California haircuts to get my hair cut. I had a tote bag. I picked up a book. I knew the Sharpie was in there. And so I went on downtown in Lafayette, California to California haircuts. Now I walked in early. There weren't very many people there. They sit on a slab. You know, they've wasted no money on their decor. So you just have a bench with sort of a foam pillow on it. There was a sweet-faced woman right here at the end. White hair, sweet-faced. There was a man sitting next to her that had very little hair. I thought, well, this is not going to take long. He doesn't have much to cut. And there was another man next to him. See, all the kids were in school. Next to him, this is a cinch. So I sat down, signed in, and then sat down. I took out my book. I was reading a brand new, oversized paperback book. I just loved it. It was by Gregory Maguire. And the name of this book was Mirror, Mirror. And I had just been involved in this book, 6 chapters, brand new to me. And I was about chapter 6, and the words jumped out at me. Aberrations are the crispest memories. That sounded important. Aberrations are the crispest memory. What's an aberration? Aberrations. I thought back. It's a thing you do when you do something wrong, when you turn away from what is right and you do something wrong. He's right. I reached in and I pulled out my Sharpie. I underlined it and I put a big star in the margin because I knew I wanted to find this again. I went on. I felt her as she began to move closer to me. That little sweet-faced woman I was sitting next to, she moved over closer again. I noticed out of the corner of my eye she was coming even closer. Now I felt her breath on my neck. It was warm breath, and she was breathing kind of hard, and I turned. We were nose to nose, practically. I saw what you did. I saw what you did. I don't know exactly what you mean. I put the Sharpie back in the bag and I said, I don't know exactly what you... She said, I saw what you did. You wrote in that book. Well, I know I did, but I don't want you to worry about it. It's my book. That didn't seem to make any difference to her. I saw it. I saw you pick up that pen, and I saw you write in your book. And I said, well, don't worry. And I flipped the book to the back, and I said, look at this, sister. Look, it's not a library book. She didn't look understanding. She didn't look forgiving. But right then I was saved because they called my name. Ellouise. And I picked up my tote bag, put my book in, and I turned and I walked over to get my hair cut. Halfway there, I turned and I looked back. She was still looking at me. She was following me across the room. And then I realized, and I knew what was going to happen here. She was going to tell people what I had done. Well, it changed my life that day. I went out, and that afternoon, I bought a Nook. You can't write on a Nook. You can always have your book with you, but you don't need a Sharpie. Thank you very much.